these 5 scenes. As you read, summarize them. I've given you summaries, but it's also important that you summarize it in your own words to make it clear for your own understanding. Okay, that way it'll help you a lot. Also, we'll go through character sketches and some questions and answers as well. Okay, so I'll summarize all the scenes, I'll give you character sketches, and then we'll look at questions and answers specifically based on these first 5 scenes. So the setting. Okay? The setting is very important. Okay? Why is this setting so crucial in a play? What makes it so crucial? What do you think? Why is it crucial to know the setting of a play?
So that we can know. I'm taking an random case. Like the language also, like if it's from the slang or from, you understand? So if it comes with, say now we take place and then the way they're speaking is going to be like really that way. If that makes sense.
Makes sense? If you think about it, something taking place in South Africa will differ quite widely from something in America or Italy, right?
Yes.
So it's important because culture, language, dialect, all of that does play a role, right? Here specifically, Italy. Okay, so Romeo and Juliet took place in a town called Verona in Italy during the 1400s, so that would be the 15th century, right? Italy wasn't a united country at the time, so the whole feud between the Capulets and Montagues plays into this fact that the country as a whole was divided politically and everything. Like, people just did not get along. It wasn't as though people liked each other and stuff. Okay? There was great division. Okay? You have these small city-states, and they would fight between themselves to control certain areas, like the city of Verona. So now you have, for example, Joburg and Pretoria fighting to, or let's make it rather, you have like Boksburg and Benoni fighting to own Brakpan. That effect, right? So that's what you have here. They are fighting to get control. Because if you control the city, you get gold and riches and all sorts of stuff. The people were governed by nobles. So this means you had princes and dukes, and you had a whole hierarchy of people that controlled a certain area. So a feudal system, other this was an entirely feudal system, but you had lords of the land and stuff. Similar to that concept, you now had princes and dukes and people in charge of certain areas. So this prince was in charge specifically of Verona. Okay? So you see in scene 1, he kind of loses it when the Montagues and Capulets are fighting because they constantly fight with them, constantly have issues with each other, right? So he's like, this isn't working, you've been doing this for too long, if you do it again, it's death and exile, all sorts of things. So, also, most people in Italy were Roman Catholic and attended church regularly. Does it make a difference whether or not they were Roman Catholic and attended church? Does religion play a role in the way people do things?
Not anymore.
Not anymore? What do you mean not anymore?
Back in the day, it did.
Back in the day it did, and now?
People are really going to church.
They rarely go to church. Okay? Also true. But back then, could it play a pivotal role in people attending?
And I feel like for some reason they were commanded, like it was mandatory to go to church, like it was like to go to school. Something.
You think they were forced?
Yeah.
But, okay, you were saying, but bear in mind, church was important. It is also going to be a friar that is going to help Romeo and Juliet. So it will be a religious leader helping them later on in this play. Okay? That's why I'm not ruining it. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm saying something to bear in mind. Also, there's many references to religious symbols. When Romeo and Juliet meets, what does he do? It's all sorts of religious stuff. This program and touch my lips and my sin is gone. Let me take my sin back. All sorts of religious symbolism. So Catholicism and their religion as a whole plays a pivotal role in their lives. It shapes them, it forms them, it helps them to guide their lives. Okay? There's something to bear in mind. That's why shrine saints, pilgrims, all sorts of things that guide them. So, The play starts with that prologue. So what exactly is a prologue? What does a prologue do? What is a prologue?
It's not just an end.
Then the beginning.
So Shakespeare loved Greek theatre, and it also influenced a lot of how he wrote. So in Greek theatre, it's a tradition. You start the play by telling the people what's going to happen in the play. You literally know they're going to die right from the start. It's not a secret. Romeo and Juliet will die. Okay? They tell you right from the start. Outline of the plot, sets the scene, and gives your audience some idea what's going to happen. It's presented by a group of actors as a chorus. It prepares the audience for a sad story. This is a tragedy. Romeo and Juliet is not a comedy. It is a tragedy. Okay? The structure of this poem, the prologue, is a Shakespearean sonnet. 14 lines in rhyming couplet. And the end rhyming couplet in any Shakespearean sonnet drives home the main message. Okay? Whereas what is the main message here? Two star-crossed lovers. So they were destined to. Right? That's what it means. They solved their feud by giving their lives. Okay? And as I said, rhyming pattern, AB, all of that. Now, the prologue we explained, there's two families. Both of them are noble. Both of them are extremely wealthy. Both of them have the same social status, and they both live in Verona. Everything they have is exactly the same, basically. There's literally, the only difference is in their name and where they stay.
So it isn't a power relationship also, like who dominates the relationship between them.
But no one can dominate. They both have the exact same social status. So what are they trying to dominate? They're seen exactly the same. And you'll notice the town hates them. There's no one in Verona that likes them. I mean, they pick up, clubs and stuff to sort out the fight. Because they're tired of it. So they've been arguing for years. We never know why. We don't know why. They've just been arguing, they hate each other. It's a violent feud. And the ordinary citizens get involved. Even the servants, bite their thumb at each other. And remember this biting their thumb would translate to in modern times. Huh? Not a very nice symbol. Okay? So fate steps in. Now, also with Greek theatre, fate played a very important role. You were fated for something, or destined for something. Okay? They are destined to die. That's it. They were destined to die. And they died because of misunderstandings, which you'll see. Okay? But they were destined to die. So, fate steps in when these two feuding families give birth to two unfortunate lovers, star-crossed lovers, and the stars predict their tragic fate for them. They become the victims of unkind fate, and they face this unfortunate tragic accident. Only with their death is the parents' feud resolved. They had to die for there to be peace. What a sacrifice, huh? Had to give their lives for these two families to say, you know what? We're being stupid, huh? We're fighting, why are we fighting? And now we lost our children. So only a death opens their eyes to realize, now we've lost everything. Two young people gone to the grave because of stupidity. Okay? Then the cause of their doomed love and their deaths eventually bring an end to the hatred. Too late. And the topic that will act on the stage for the next hours will be full, devoted acting. And in case we left something out in the prologue. That's what they say. So we've said everything in the prologue, but in case we left something out, the play will fill it in. The play will close those gaps. Okay? So this prologue summarizes everything in an understandable manner. That's what it does. Okay? So, Act 1, Scene 1. A fight occurs between the Montagues and Capulets. That's very important to remember. And the setting is this public street in Verona. The Samson and Gregory are Capulet servants. And they, boasting, making jokes. What do you call the type of humor in this play? Because it's a very specific name.
Dark.
Can you remember? No, not dark humor.
It's that long hard word.
Hardware. It's not hardware. We call it body humor, right? So your body humor is your more below the belt, vulgar type of humor. So that's a joke. Remember, what do these two guys joke about? Which I don't understand how it's funny, but what do they joke about? The maidens and cutting off the maidenhead, which means taking the virginity and by force. It's not a kind action they want to take, but they're joking about it. Abraham and Balthazar, then the two other servants arrive, and you see something like biting thumb, and they give you arguments about, are you biting your thumb at me? I'm biting my thumb. But are you biting me? I'm biting my... You know, a whole silly argument. Then Benvolio arrives, and he tries to stop the fight. So now a nobleman arrives, and he tries to now break up this whole fight, which sort of just makes it a bit worse. Because now you've not just got the commoners involved, you've now also got these noblemen also involved, and also fighting, and also doing their thing, right? Then Tybalt arrives. So you'll find Tybalt is one of those hot-headed guys. He acts, he doesn't think before he acts. Okay? He sees you, he hates you, he wants to end you right there and then. Okay? You saw in the clip of the movie, he just wants to go at Romeo. Finding out that he's there, he's like, I'll end him now. So Tybalt is a hothead. He can't control his emotions at all. Okay? Bear in mind, these guys are like 16, 17. Okay, they're not adults, they're not matured yet. They're still figuring themselves out, they're teens. Now come on. What teenagers figure themselves out? Right? Not yet. Huh?
Yes.
So he's now like, oh, they didn't want to fight. Then officers come. They now get the law involved, they want to try and stop the fight. Then Lord Capulet and Montague arrive. And they arrive, instead of trying to stop the fight, they see each other and they also want to fight. So it just becomes one big major, confusion. Okay? Then the prince arrives. So, bear in mind, this guy is now the prince. So what is he in charge of? He's in charge of Verona, right?
Yes.
Now, if a prince doesn't do his job properly, do you think he's going to remain the prince and keep his title?
No.
No. Okay? So, now he arrives and he orders them, drop your weapons like immediately. This stops now. Okay? There have been 3 fights that he recounts. Okay? Just between these 2 families. Okay? Now he wants, if they fight again, they'll be put to death. And then he wants to see Lord Montague and Capulet at his palace. So he issues this threat, they will be executed if they fight again. But then he tells these 2 lords, I want to see you privately. Why do you think he calls them for a private meeting?
Because you want to see on both sides of the story.
Sorry?
You want to see on both sides.
And what else? Aside from just hearing both sides of the story, what else?
Stop them to make them understand each other.
Yeah, isn't that to lay down the law and say, listen, I don't care about your feud. I don't care why you hate each other. This is the way it works in my city, and you follow my laws.
Yes.
Okay? I mean, this guy's going to be like, I'm the law, you follow it. No excuses. Benvolio then explains to Lord Montague how the fight started. Lady Montague asks Benvolio if he knows where Romeo is. Then Lord Montague says, but you know what? I realize that Romeo is sad, he's melancholy. Okay? He's depressed. He has a specific type of love. And now there's Lord asks Benvolio to find out why Romeo is upset. Why he's moping, why he's groaning, why he has all this drama. He's got so much drama, huh? And can you imagine, like, the sighing and the moping. So when Romeo arrives, he tells Benvolio he's in love. What type of love does he have for Rosalind?
One-sided love.
Okay, but give me the nice term for this one-sided love. Unrequited love. There we go. So he's got unrequited love. It's not returned. She does not feel the same. Okay? They met like what? Once?
They didn't even meet, he saw her.
You see? So I mean, it's a love at first sight. Now you understand why I do this with a love at first sight that he has, because Rosalind. Oh, Juliet.
Yeah.
Quickly forgotten, right? So he's sad because Rosalind is not interested in him.
Who introduces yourself?
Okay. So let's look at the character sketch. So Samson is a simpleton and a coward. You know these guys who speak big of themselves. They're bold. They like, if this guy comes, I'm going to do this and this and this to him. The guy comes and like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I haven't meant please. I'm sorry. You know those guys. Huh? They're extremely big in front of their chummies, but alone, they're the big. Same with this guy. He's a coward. So here he says he'll rape any of these women, and he will do all sorts of things to them, rob them. but he uses a number of obscene puns to brag about his sexual prowess and powers. Okay?
Yes.
Then he bites his thumb at the two men, but he's too cowardly to say, yes, I'm biting it at you. What are you going to do about it? He's a coward. He talks big. He's one of those guys, yeah, I'll do this, but he'll never do it. He's a coward. Okay? And also, simpleton means what? What does it mean when someone is called a simpleton?
You're very, what is the name? Never mind,
You're stupid. That's what it actually means. When you're a simpleton, it means you're brainless, basically. Okay?
Yes.
Gregory mocks Samson during the discussion. He says he will flour the two servants of the house and mother you. The men are reluctant to accost or fight them directly. And when Gregory sees Tybalt approaching, he urges Samson to fight. Why does he only urge him to fight when Tybalt approaches?
Because he knows what Tybalt is going to fight.
But don't they want to look good in front of noblemen, right? Oh, he's coming, this manly and good and courageous. Okay? Then you've got Benvolio, so he's Romeo's cousin. He tries to keep the peace. That's what he's trying to do. And his name comes from Latin bene, meaning good or well, and volo to wish. So wishing you well. Right? How's that for an awesome name? Wishing you well. That's what this guy symbolizes. He's the peacekeeper, the guy who wants people to, calm down, lay down. He's not the fighter at all. He doesn't care about the fight. Okay? So he's honest and reliable, and he gives an honest account about the fight started. But at the same time, he's naive. What does it mean to be naive?
Do something else.
Yeah, you can say something, but what does it mean to be naive? What does it mean to be naive? Yeah, it's linked to it, but it's not entirely there. When you're naive, what it means is you are too trusting. You're way too trusting. Okay? So you see the best in everything. Can you live life like that?
No.
And not be hurt? No, like people are going to disappoint you. So he's too naive. He wants to see the peace and the good, and it doesn't happen for him. Tybalt reveals himself. He's aggressive and violent and over the top. He hates the Montague family with an uncontrollable passion. He can't keep his rage in. When he sees a Montague, he's like a shark that smells blood. If he wants it. He can't control himself. So he's dangerously volatile, which means he's explosive. He's one of those people that will be like calm and smiling the one moment, see the guy he hates the next and completely lose it. Okay? Blind anger. Completely blind anger. Okay? And that's what almost leads directly to the final tragedy of the story. Almost.
So it's like angry God.
No, he's like Greg. Yeah, completely music. The prince, he's respected and powerful due to his title, right? And he's decreed that everyone starting to fight in the streets of Verona will be executed, is to be taken seriously. That decree ultimately leads to Romeo being banished later on. And you'll see why Romeo gets banished. So I won't give it away for you. We're still in Act 1. I won't give it away. But Romeo will get banished. Then we have the star of the show. Romeo is called in literary terms our what? What is Romeo in the play? Give me the proper literary term for what exactly Romeo is in our play. What is Romeo in our play? But give me the nice term for that.
The protagonist.
There we go, the protagonist. Romeo is our protagonist. So we introduce Romeo when he comes across as a lovesick young man, infatuated with Rosalind, unrequited love. But what we do see about Romeo is he's more in love with the idea of being in love than actually being in love. That's his problem. It's the idea of being in love that he's into. Okay? So this we see also in his poem. He uses his elaborated, stylized language, fanciful images, wordplay, all sorts of stuff. Okay? So Shakespeare prepares us for this final contrast between this poetry and how Romeo will react when he sees Juliet for the first time. Because his expressions of love for Juliet will be real. So he goes from this Petrarchan, unrequited love to actual love. Okay? So Petrarchan sonnets, and Shakespeare loved mocking the Petrarchan sonnets. So Petrarchans were over the top, hyperbolized, idealized their women. They described them as like goddesses, they would float, not walk. They would be perfect in every way. The sun would go down when they said stuff like that. They were the ideal woman. So you see, even the way he does it, he's very patriarchal, like rather than everything.
Yes.
But it's like, well, it's fake. Is anyone that perfect?
No.
The Shakespeare, even you'll see in the Sonnet 130, brings across the idea of like, you love people because they're perfect in their imperfections. No one is perfect. Okay? So Romeo, you can see, over the top, hyperbolized. But when he sees Juliet, just straightforward, direct. This girl is beautiful. Language, right? So Romeo's reaction when he sees that there had been a fight in the street suggests he's disappointed. He's sad to see that a brawl had taken place. Do you think he's violent in his nature? That he wants to fight and he wants to charge in?
No.
Do you see him and Mercutio being family? Very similar, right? They don't want the fights and stuff. They want peace. They don't really care about the fighting. He's interested in girls and stuff. That's where his mind is. He's not into the whole fight scene and stuff. It's not what he's about. Okay? So, this I'll post these links. I think it will be a good idea to also have different perspectives on the different scenes in the act. Okay? So, I'd suggest check something like Nerd Study. It's good. Okay? These questions, I think we've gone through the questions for scene 1. Okay? So you have the idea. Now, Act 1, scene 2, Lord Capulet plans his party, and the setting is the Capulet's mansion. So now we move on to the Capulet's mansion. Okay? Now we see the scene opens with Lord Capulet in Paris, and he and Lord Montague have been ordered not to fight, and he thinks they will be able to keep the peace. Okay? He thinks they will be able to. What does he only think they will be able to? Not like, yeah, we will.
He thinks that maybe the Montagues will continue to start the fights or something.
If you're feuding for this long and it's your third fight, do you really want peace? Or do you want to be the victor? You don't care about peace, you want to win. That's what it's about. You want to win. Okay? So, Paris asks Lord Capulet for permission to marry Juliet. So now we find out Juliet's age. Okay? We find out she's 13 years old. Too young to marry. So he suggests waiting at least another 2 years for her to be 15. Okay? Lord Capulet invites Paris to a party that night. There you will see Juliet as well as other ladies with whom to compare. So the father doesn't really want to marry her off. He wants Paris to see the other ladies, compare them to Juliet and like fall in love with someone else. He thinks his daughter is still too young to get married. Okay? Well, Capulet gives his servant a list of people and tells him to invite them, but the servant can't read. So it's kind of fortuitous for Romeo that the servant cannot read. Why do you have to say that?
So that they can sneak into the party.
But also remember, he goes to Romeo and asks him to read the list. And then he finds out about the party. So that's what I'm saying, it's fortuitous for them because they found out because he could read. Okay, so he then sees Rosalind, the woman he loves, is invited. So it's his chance to see her. The servant says that if Romeo and Romeo are not Montagues, they're welcome. So he specifies, if you're not Montagues, come. Then Romeo then tells Romeo that many ladies will be at the party and maybe Romeo might meet someone new. Okay, is it a good idea that Romeo meets someone new?
Yeah, he needs to get out of here.
Definitely he needs to get out of his head and get out of the idea of Juliet being everything, right?
Rosalind being everything.
Okay. So again, that's scene 2. Scene 3, now we meet Juliet. Not yet at the party, right? But now we meet Juliet. So now we see the room in the Capulet's mansion, and we have Lady Capulet, Juliet, servantman, and a nurse. One thing immediately straight off the bat. You see, there is not the connection between the mom and the daughter. Okay? The mom did not raise the daughter. The nurse did. You will notice the nurse has like pet names for Juliet. The mother does not. Is there as tight a bond? So the nurse is more a mother figure than the actual mother. So if someone were to give Juliet advice, who would she take it from? The mom or the nurse?
The nurse.
And you'll also see the nurse and the friar are two very important characters. They play extremely important roles. Extremely. So, reduced to them, the nurse who raised Juliet chatters on, telling also body humor, lewd jokes, which contrast with Juliet's genuine innocence. I mean, Juliet's 13. She hasn't experienced anything yet. Okay? She's 13. Now remember, why is bawdy humor included in the play? Who did Shakespeare write it for? You remember?
Back then, like the play was only based, like women couldn't act back then. So the story was like about two guys.
Yeah, but no, not that specifically. Bawdy humor was for lower class people. Remember, it was catered to them. Right? They would understand the humor because it's their dialect and the way they speak. Okay? Remember, it's all the servants and the lower class people that has this humor. So it's for them. Whereas golden circle today you pay a masculine for, that was their space. They stood, rich people sat. Now it's just the reverse. Okay? What happened? So, Lady Catherine tries to persuade Juliet to consider Paris as offer of marriage. Look at the difference. The mom is like, I said, man, he's a good guy, he's going to give you everything, go for him, marry him, you know. So you do it. And the dad was like, she's too young. You see this contrast between the mom and dad. Juliet says she will think about it. Okay? Lady Catherine and the nurse discussed Juliet's age. And we learned that the nurse had a daughter, Susan, was the same age as Juliet. And the daughter died and the nurse then became a wet nurse. In other words, when she's a wet nurse, it means she breastfed Juliet. Okay? She literally breastfed Juliet. That's what it means. Okay? So, do you understand? The mom is the nurse, more than the actual biological mom. Okay? So the nurse rambled on about her memories of Juliet and her own husband. She recounts an incident when Juliet, as a little girl, fell forward onto her face and damaged her brow. Her husband joked about how when she was older she would fall on her back rather than her front, to which Juliet agreed, much to their amusement. You can figure out that joke, right? Okay? The nurse says that if she lives long enough to see Juliet get married, she will have a wish come true. Isn't that a bit of foreshadowing? Isn't that a bit of foreshadowing? Because she indeed is going to know about the marriage and indeed live to see her be married, right? Although before that, there are some, you can say, disagreements between her and Juliet about it, but we'll see. Lady Catherine uses the opportunity to ask Juliet how she feels about being married. Juliet replies, it's an honor she has not dreamt of. She's 13. She hasn't thought about it yet. It's not crossed her mind. Her mother reminds her that girls younger than her have already been married and already have children. So like 11, 12, they got married back then. Okay? And they had children. So Juliet is 13, it means that her mother is 6.
She looks so old in the movie.
Yeah, but the mom is 26.
Juliet looked like she was 17 in the movie.
Yeah. So now you know, her own mom was 13 and now Juliet is 13. So the mom is 26. Okay? You'll find, that's why I don't really like movies as much, because they are usually always inaccurate. Okay? Like you show a 60-something-old lady where she's 26.
The character doesn't look like their age.
Exactly. That's why I personally don't like movies. And I mean, I think the best Romeo and Juliet movie is the one with Leonardo DiCaprio, but it's also not accurate. They use guns and stuff.
Parents want to Parents want to
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't like movies. So, then, she then reveals that Paris wants to marry her. The nurse is very impressed, saying what a great catch Paris would be. And the captain tells Juliet to examine him at the party to see how handsome he is. And she asks Juliet whether she would like to marry Paris. Okay? Then Juliet replies that she will look at Paris if she is moved to like him. So if there's butterflies and she's stirred, cool. She says she'll do nothing without her parents' consent. Okay? But that is kind of ironic. Okay? So to us, that's dramatic irony because we know what's going to happen. Okay? The parents. Is she going to wait for her parents' consent?
No.
Not at all. Okay? Irony. Servant arrives and tells them all the guests have arrived, the supper has been served, and they should hurry. So let's look at the characters. So we have the nurse. If there's a character you need to take note of and make notes of and really know, it's her. I know the main characters are Romeo and Juliet, Okay? But important characters, especially when it comes to essays and contextual questions. The nurse, okay? She provides a comic relief. That's why she's there. She provides some humor. Okay? Avoiding jokes. In her very first line, she swears by her virginity. She says she lost when she was 12 years old. So we know from the start, this is a different type of lady. Okay? She's different. The nurse plays the role of Juliet's confidant. What is a confidant?
Someone you can trust or confide with.
Trust, confide in, tell your secrets to. As well as a surrogate mother. That's what she was. She was basically the stand-in mother for Juliet. And we learn that Juliet was reared from birth, breastfeeding over the milk she would have had after her own baby died. So Juliet turns to the nurse, when she needs help and guidance. Not her mom, but to the nurse. But the nurse is not very intelligent. Why? Did they receive the same opportunities if they were poorer? Not really. Okay? So the scene ends with her advice to Juliet to seek happy night. And obviously sexual illusion, okay? Showing how shallow and simple she is. She equates marriage with sex. Not love. Marriage equals sex. Okay? Lady Capulet, not a very good mother. She's self-centered, full of self-importance. That's what she cares about, because Juliet marrying Paris is about status. It would make them look good. Okay? It would make the family look good. She doesn't care about Juliet's happiness. It will make the family look good. So consider it. Marrying will make us look good. She's self-absorbed and self-centered. Okay? Also, trying to persuade Juliet to consider his marriage, Lady Capulet reveals herself to be just as shallow as her husband. She's interested only in prestige. That's what it's about. Family, prestige, honor for her and her husband. They don't care about Juliet. Then Juliet shows herself to be, she's polite, she's obedient, okay? She has a good relationship with her mother, and we can presume with her father. We can judge this from the conversation he has with Paris at the beginning of the scene. We said of Juliet, she's the hopeful lady of my earth. So she's everything to him, the apple of his eye. Okay? But that will soon change, right? That will soon change. Then we get to Act 1, Scene 4. So now there's a street outside Capulet's mansion. We have Romeo, Mercutio, Benvolio, all sorts of other maskers, okay, and torchbearers. So Romeo and his friends are on their way to the party. Among the party is Mercutio, an eccentric friend of Romeo, and a member of the prince's family. Romeo is still gloomy. Mercutio wants to cheer him up, okay? So they sort of Queen Mad, Queen of the Fairies, and they approach Capulet's house at the party. Romeo declares that he feels uneasy about the future. Once again, foreshadowing. Once again, foreshadowing. Remember, foreshadowing is basically just hinting at what is going to happen in the future. He feels uneasy about the future. I mean, I can imagine he feels uneasy. Not much of a future, right? 5 days. Remember, the play takes place in 5 days. This being day 1. 4 days later, they'll die. 5 days. Okay? So, he feels uneasy about the future. So, Romeo, Benvolio, Mercutio, all the other wearing masks are uninvited to Capulet's party. So, why did this masquerade help them get in? And hid their faces, right? Hid their identities. Okay. Many of the guests would be wearing masks, and was the custom of the day. Romeo asked whether they would deliver a speech to excuse themselves for arriving without an invitation. But when Romeo says such excuses are outdated. Just arrive, enjoy the party. No one even knows who you are. They don't even remember who they invited. So just join. Just be happy and merry. Make the most of it. They will dance indeed. Romeo says he will hold the light and not dance because his heart is heavy. And he and his friend Mercutio exchange ideas about the nature of love. Then Mercutio relates a dream he had of Queen Mab. So that's a mischievous and tiny fairy who travels in a chariot made of a hazelnut shell and driven by a gnat. Okay? You know that these irritating fly-like things that go after rotten food? So she enters the mind of sleeping people like a midwife, gives birth to dreams. So a bit of, mythology there that is brought in. Mercutio becomes excited by the story, and Romeo stops him, calming him down and saying that he's talking nonsense. So you can see Mercutio likes talking.
Yeah.
He likes talking a lot. Okay? He really likes talking a lot. So, Mercutio is a very important character in the play as well, because he's Romeo's best friend. Okay? Benvolio the cousin, Mercutio the best friend. Mercutio will also represent a great turning point in Romeo's fate. Act 3. Okay? All Shakespeare plays follow the exact same pattern. Exposition, you find this rising action, you find the turning point in Act 3, and then you find the downfall up to the conclusion. All these plays follow the exact same thing. So in Act 3, everything changes. And that's the turning point, everything changes, and from there it's done. Okay? All of the plays follow this simple pattern. Okay? So, the characters wearing masks is notable because masks will disguise them and enable them to mingle. Because we have the guests wearing masks, they wouldn't be out of place. Okay? Now, Romeo's misgivings just before entering the captive's house do come true by the end of the play. His premonition is forewarning of the tragedy to come. He's one of the pair of star-crossed lovers. The final metaphor is one of many metaphors in the play. The sea ships, the shipwrecks. Romeo gives over the control of his own destiny. Okay? The suggestion that he is a puppet controlled by fate occurs frequently throughout the play. So he's basically saying he is not in control of his own life. The fates are controlling him. So in mythology, the fates, they take on different shapes and stuff, but they control the destinies of people. And they shape how people's lives will turn out. That's what they believed in mythology. Okay? So he's saying he's a puppet on a string, and they're just guiding him along. Okay? So, that's scene 4. The last scene, scene 5, being the most important scene in Act 1. Why is this the most important scene in Act 1?
Because this is where romance meets.
Yes. This is where our pair of star-crossed lovers meet. This is where they see each other and they lay eyes on each other. So, Capulet's servants are busy preparing for the party before Capulet welcomes his guests, among whom are Romeo and his friends. When Romeo now sees Juliet, immediately falls in love. Okay? Now do bear in mind, from the writer, being Shakespeare's point of view, it is true love. I know it's short and everything, but compare it to the unrequited love and now having requited love. Okay? It's true love. Okay, because remember we answered from the writer's perspective, not just our own. Okay? So, he expresses love his admiration for her. Okay? Tybalt recognizes his voice as Romeo and immediately, Tybalt, what then it loses his mind, wants to just fight. Okay? Capulet stops him and says, listen, this is a party. I don't care that they're here. So this sounds really interesting. The families are feuding, but the head of the one family says, I don't care. Is he making trouble? Is he hurting anyone? No. Leave the guy, have fun. Head of the house, by the way. Tybalt is angry and then he bows to get revenge. So now we know somewhere along the line this dude is going to cause trouble. There's foreshadowing. This guy is going to, somewhere along the line, act a fool and do something he should not. Okay? Romeo and Juliet now, see, they touch hands, they kiss. And then they fall. So they literally, physically, metaphorically, all of that lovely stuff fall in love. Okay? But they literally get so entranced, they fall. Flat on the ground. Okay? True love. Both are devastated, however, when you discover that the other is from the enemy's family. Okay? So I mean, you just kissed and had a glorious time with the enemy. But these are children. I mean, do they even understand why they should hate the other people? No. They just hate them because of the parents hating each other, no? I mean, so it is. So, detailed summary in the hall in the Capulets' house, the servants are joking together as they prepare. Capulet welcomes everyone, tells all the guests to dance, and says that any lady who refuses to dance must have corns. This combination of all the ladies dance. He proceeds to talk of how he would party when he was young. Then he speaks with the cousin about when last time will master the party. And he tells him it was 30 years before Capulet. Cannot believe how quickly the time has gone. So this suggests he's old. Much older than his wife, who was 26. Much older. Okay? And Capulet reveals here that he used to be somewhat of a party animal. So he used to enjoy himself. Quite a lot. Okay? Romeo sees Juliet, entranced by her beauty. He says he's never seen true beauty before. Gone is Rosalind. Who cares about Rosalind? Okay? Romeo's reaction to it reveals we were not wrong in interpreting his infatuation, rather as insincere. It wasn't true love. Forgets all about her. He speaks of the term so sincere. There's the thing. We're convinced it's true love. We're convinced it is true and actual love. So that is scene 1 to 5, Act 1. That is the full Act 1. Does that make more sense now?
Yes.
Okay? So you will see each act represents a day in these 5 days. So this is the first day. Okay? So if I'm not mistaken, this is the Sunday. Okay? And you have Act 2 being Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay? And the 2 most important acts is Act 1 and 3. Okay? And then obviously Act 5 where everything has gone down, but specifically Act 1 and 3. In June, the focus is going to be Act 1 and 3. That I can guarantee you. Our focus will be Act 1 and 3. So I hope this helped. Hope it makes more sense. But have an awesome afternoon. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining.